Cause it's time to move on now. It's time for
Oh! Take two, Josh. Take two.
Oh.
Josh.
Whoa!
Recording today
Whoa!
this time.
Whoa! Whoa! Okay, it's working.
Josh. Okay, it's working. Josh, I am Rod, and you are Josh. You're sitting on my face, and we smell like moose poop and ADHD. I think I recapped everything from the first.
And I buzzed my hair, so it's like
And Josh-
short. And you know what?
Yeah.
I didn't actually mean to when I started doing it. It ended up this way, and now that I'm looking at it, I don't really mind it. It doesn't look bad, so I'm all right with it. Yeah.
And it goes good with the Goonies t-shirt, Josh. It does. Which is funny because Josh and I, at some point in the near future, may be talking about a movie that is kind of like the Goonies, but with vampires. So we.
Oh, yeah.
So-
So the show is starting to, when we don't know what to do. If I've come up with a poster, it kind of just goes in that direction. It's like, hey,
Well,
you're doing posters. Like this morning, I did this poster.
Yeah.
And but I've done other posters, and it's usually within the horror, like, niche or genre. And yeah, so there is an abundance of other movies that I would like to check out for the show that I've done posters for as well, but we'll get there eventually.
We're not doing 310 to Yuma, Josh. That's too far.
No,
outside
like
the
the
box.
House of the Devil, I would like to do for the show,
Yeah.
or Alien, I'd like to do for the show.
We're
that
doing
type of
Alien.
stuff. I
Alien
know,
is
but I'm
happening.
just saying it will come at some point. I know these shows will happen, but the posters are already there, right? So, my
Mhm.
work is done.
Your work is done, but is it ever really done, Josh? Is it ever?
No,
really done?
never. But this one was, I don't know. I felt like, you just watch this. I
Yeah.
felt like I love how this movie, any movie that does what this movie did with the title sequence being where it is in the movie,
Yeah.
I was floored. This
Dude.
is amazing. You got to understand how this movie is. So, like, I felt like this poster did that
Yeah.
justice. It's a little bit of a not spoiler, but it's a little bit of a hint at what the movie's actually about with that tiny little drip. I've seen other alt posters where there was like the meat package from a grocery store with like a hand in it or something. I was like, that's kind of like, that's too much.
Dude, so I didn't watch. So this actually happened. My wife was watching this film with me because I bet you can guess why she was watching this movie with me, because of the actor.
Oh yeah, of
in it.
course, because Captain or Winter Soldier was in it.
Yeah, Winter Soldier's in it, and
He's a hunk.
We got through, I think, the fucking credits, or to the credits, which, by the way, is 30 minutes into this fucking film, which is fucking
I love it.
no
I
problem.
fucking love it.
But my wife's sitting there going, but she like couldn't handle not knowing anything about. I went into this movie knowing exactly nothing. I knew Sebastian Stan was in this movie, and that was all I
knew
knew.
too much.
You see, I didn't know anything. And
Yeah.
so she starts asking me questions. I'm like, I don't fucking know. I didn't watch the trailer. I literally stopped, paused the movie, went up and peed. I was like, watch the trailer while I'm gone.
Oh
Because I
no! So
can't-
she spoiled it for herself.
No, she watched the trailer, but like she couldn't handle all the, like, I think there was too much anxiety for her in this film, which I understand.
Oh, because it says horror, and there was nothing for a long
Yeah.
time. It's a
very,
build up.
like, it's like a romantic comedy for the first half an hour almost. Right?
I
It's
love
like,
how completely different the movie, but it sets it up perfectly. I don't know. Let's check.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
not go.
we'll talk-
This is going to be a good discussion because it's a nutty movie. But let's
Yeah.
hold off. It's only it's 4 minutes in, man. We're blowing our load too early.
Yeah, I mean we're us, so there will be ADHD along the way, and so it's okay. We'll get there, and my bird is squawking to just fuck with us because
No, he's saying, "Yeah, slow down, Rod."
she is crazy and doesn't give a fuck. She's like, I'm Isabel. Hear me roar. That's the only thing in this house that my wife has had longer than me. So like,
Well, what have you been watching other than Fresh this week?
Letter Kenny, and Letter Kenny, and more Letter Kenny. I think we made it through season 3 out of 10, and
There's 10 seasons?
yeah, there's 10, but they're all 7-episode seasons, or like
Yeah.
at least a bunch of them are. So they're not real. Like it feels like
No.
they do seasons of the fucking Canadian. But man, I have to tell you, Josh.
Yeah, but that's the only
it-
show that also, like, in between seasons will randomly have, like, a holiday episode that comes out, like, on Christmas or, like, on Thanksgiving or, like,
the other
whatever.
shows do that. Like Solar Opposites did that. Like Solar Opposites did the Christmas special, which I never watched. The
Yeah,
Rick
but
and Morty
that's not,
spin-off
like,
show,
in
not
between
spin-off, but-
seasons. That's,
Yeah,
like, part
it
of
was
their
in between
season.
seasons.
Oh, was it?
No, it was
Okay.
in between. Yeah.
Okay.
They like released a season 2. I was watching that. I've been watching a little bit of the spin-off of Big Head.
What's
Where,
that?
like the Netflix show where it's all the middle schoolers who are just like they go through puberty, and so they all have like hormone monsters, and like all their emotions become these like tangible things, right? Like the hormone monsters like just get them to jerk off and shit like that. And so the show is fucking wild, and there's like 4 or 5 seasons of that now, and they just did a
All right.
spin-off where it's like the HR department for all the monsters, that like the love monster and the hormone monster and stuff like that. And it's like Nick Kroll and John Mulaney and shit like that. And it's pretty wonderful. It's pretty gross at times, but it's pretty wonderful. So I've watching that a little bit. But
Sounds right up your alley.
Yeah. There's been lots of Letterkenny, and just I have to tell you, Josh, watching Letterkenny and the hockey guys don't make any sense to Americans. Like nothing the hockey guys say makes any. I mean, the two hockey guys, like
They're so rad, though.
they're I love them, but nothing they say makes American sense. Like nothing they say.
No way,
like,
bud. Bud.
they just
I
start
say
saying
bud all the
words.
time.
I know. But no, it's not even that. They say words that don't make any. I don't know what they mean, and I don't know if it's half because it's like partially Canadian slang, partially hockey slang, and then just partially like younger people slang at the same time.
No,
and we're
it's
both-
full on, like, straight prairie slang. Like, I live in the prairies.
Yeah.
But they're more like East prairies, so they're more like, Saskatchewan, Winnipeg, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm more Alberta. And where is Letterkenny? Is Letterkenny in Alberta?
I don't know where it is. I don't know, but like I'm sitting there, I'm like, I have no idea what these people are talking about half the time, and I love it anyways.
Oh, it's in Ontario. Yeah, it's way more east.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I was talking to a member of my community, Virebot, who's also Canadian. He said it was like 500 miles east of him. So I don't know where the fuck he lives either. But like yeah,
Yeah, bud.
Canada. Yeah, bud. Yeah, but he sounds way more like them than you do. Like he
Well,
sounds
because
like
he's more east. Like
Yeah.
I'm from Calgary. Like the game is on. The freaking Battle of Alberta is starting right now. That's Edmonton Oilers against Calgary Flames. Right when we're recording this. So like
Yeah.
I'm putting horror first.
You are. And it's funny because Josh doesn't like if I didn't know Josh loved hockey, I would be like, there's no way Josh loves sports ball. But
Well, to
Josh
be
loves
honest,
it.
COVID kind of killed it. I was a huge hockey fan before COVID came, and then they did that like weird off season or two where there's like no one in the stands, and I was like,
Yeah.
it feels like insanely wrong. Like it doesn't.
It was
It was stupid. So
the NFL did one season like that, and it was very odd because it was like you don't have anyone one of the big things in football is like offsides and the false starts and all that because the people are like screaming and shit like that, right? And it's like,
yep.
yeah,
I've
Dude, I
had
agree.
like when I'm divorced now, but when I got married, one of the gifts I got was like a signed jersey the year that we got married from the whole team. And I was
Dude,
like,
that's fucking awesome.
I was like, holy shit, that's rad. And then a couple years later, I got my my YouTube friend JD and I, who him and I went biking like crazy. Well, him and I bike. That's what we do for YouTube now. We'll bike around Calgary and go and find like a new spot and kind of do like bike
Yeah.
food vlogs or whatever. But him and I won a locker room experience at like a Flames Rangers game or something.
Yeah.
And we got to go into like the locker room and then the like, fake locker room that was like staged and stuff that had like all the old memorabilia stuff. We got free jerseys and hats and like
Dude, that's
front
dope.
row seats and like food and drinks all for free. I was like, this
Yeah.
is nuts. Like we got taken care of for the night. So yeah, that was cool. So for me to like even not like I'm not a fan, but it's like my love for it has kind of diminished because COVID really came and like
Dude, it's okay. My
took a shit.
football team signed a sexual predator as their quarterback, or traded for a sexual predator as their quarterback, and that kind of made me go. kind of went. This feels yucky, and yeah, I haven't been as excited about football since that happened. So I don't know, man. It's weird, man. But money is the most important thing for all these people. So
Well, it's Canada. The cup hasn't been back up in Canada since like the early 90s or something when the Habs won it off of the Calgary Flames, or and maybe that was 89. I don't even fucking remember. But that was back when what?
I was gonna say, all I know for sure from following people on Twitter is that the Maple Leafs keep going to the playoffs and then immediately losing in the first round, and people are very angry about it. And I saw Maple Leafs fans beating the shit out of each other after the loss. It's just like
It's so Letterkenny.
Yeah. Oh God, it's so Letterkenny. But there's no Wayne. That's the problem. Like, right? You don't
Have you
have a
seen
Wayne.
Goon or Goon 2?
I've seen Goon and I really enjoyed it. Never saw Goon 2.
It's got some good, Goon is amazing. Goon 2, there was some fun parts to it, but I feel like, Jay Baruchel, I love him, but I felt like he almost like went too far with his own character. Like he didn't know why his character was funny in the first place, and then just went over the top and made it like less funny. I'm like, oh.
That guy has never come off as the brightest crayon in the box, and I'm not saying he isn't, but like do you have characters like that, and you're talking about that, and it's like, I think that like when you play stoner characters and you play like his character in some of those movies, like She's Out of Your League and shit like that, he's just like, man, you are self-sabotaging down the road, man. I feel like you're playing too much of a loser in these movies, And it's just like, which is a danger. You get typecast as a fucking loser in movies then, right? It's like Hollywood's weird, man. Like Hollywood's real weird, and yeah, I don't know, man.
He didn't typecast himself at like you see like Simu Liu is like one of the most influential people of this year and stuff in Time magazine and everything. It's really cool to see like his arc. Shang-Chi.
Oh, that guy. Yes.
Yeah, so like from being in a show with one of my friends on CBC in Canada, Kim's Convenience, and then just like I remember talking to my buddy Andrew, and he's just like, yeah, like someone from the cast got into a fucking Marvel movie. He was telling me about his summer when he was like in a movie with what's her name? Julia Roberts is like niece or whatever. The one that was in she was in like a Scream movie or something too, right? I don't remember her name.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember. But he was like in a movie with her and a whole bunch of people, whatever. And he was talking about Simu Liu going on and being like a Marvel like superhero and stuff, and I was like, this is nuts. And now to see him and like what has happened with him and stuff, it's crazy, man.
He comes off as kind of an ass, that guy, but like I don't know if that's just like whatever, but he comes off as kind of an ass in real life. Like you see his social media interactions and shit. He comes off like kind of an ass, and I'm not like whatever. I mean, you can't. That's the thing, man. Actors often have egos. You kind of have to have an ego to be an
I
actor.
feel
I
like
right?
that's what you're talking about. Yeah, I feel like he comes across as egotistical.
Yeah,
A little bit. A
It-
little more humble now, but I don't know.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if you get, I feel like it's hard not to kind of be an ass if you get like, hey, in like a giant Marvel movie, and I'll probably be in the next Avengers movie. Like, I mean, all that shit, right? It's like, damn. And oh,
That
speaking of all that, Marvel, did you see the new Thor trailer with the like the voiceover with Korg
no.
and everything like that? It looks wonderful, and they show Gore, the God Butcher, and
I
it has
saw the pictures of Christian
memes.
Bale.
Did you see all the memes that came with it? Because there were
No.
so many memes, Josh. Like the memes of like American Psycho, where he was like Gore instead of like Christian
Oh my
Bale's regular
god.
character, and then like Thor was like the guy Jared Leto's character, and that, and then like so many things about like they took one of the faces he made in the trailer, and it was like after 12 hours after you ate Taco Bell or something like that. It's just like what, what,
He looks
you know,
intense. I love the makeup. It's great.
yeah. I saw people complaining about it a little bit because it's like not like it doesn't completely look like the comic book character, but yeah, it'll. I mean, it'll be a little
It
different,
looks
and it'll be,
fucking evil and like
yeah.
dope.
It
So
looks like
shut the
Voldemort with
fuck
a
up,
nose. I
internet.
said it looked like Voldemort, and my wife's like, "No, Voldemort doesn't have a nose." I'm like, "Okay, honey." The other thing that's interesting is gonna be like the weapon that he kills all the gods with is the Necro sword or something like that, which they found out in later down the line. It's like the first symbiote, which means it's a fucking Spider-Man thing, like a Venom thing, right? And so I don't think they'll probably go down that route. And yeah, it's comic book mythos is weird, man.
Oh, dude, I watched Morbius and I just described the movie to my tattoo artist buddy as
Yeah.
a soggy cock. Morbius
Why
is a
why
soggy
is it
cock.
soggy? Why is it soggy though?
Because it's the worst fucking movie ever, man.
Is it worse than Sharks of the Corn?
Pretty fucking
Yeah,
close.
exactly. Yeah, I was gonna say, but it's not. It's not
No.
worse than Sharks of the
Okay,
Corn.
shut up. I get
Sharks of the
it.
Corn is the worst movie ever made.
Yeah. You are correct. Morbius now slots right in there. Number 2. No.
Dude, I almost feel like we should have done that at some point, but that would have required going to that movie and talk, and then I'm really glad we did.
Dude, it is so bad. Like
Dude,
seriously so bad.
dude, I can't. This is the problem, man. You can't turn a vampire who eats people into a PG-13 character without like it being ridiculous. Like at Twilight, you made him sparkle in the sun, and
Was Blade rated R?
all 3 Blades were rated R. Yep.
Except the third one with Ryan Reynolds in it was so dumb.
There's only 2 Blade movies. I don't know what you're speaking of. The best part of that movie is Triple H and his Pomeranian vampire.
Oh, I forgot about that. I tried to
Yeah.
forget that movie even existed because it was so
And
fucking terrible.
who the fuck is it? It's the guy from like from Prison Break and the Arrowverse shows, like was Dracula in that movie, I think. And yeah, dude, that movie I saw once and I was like, this is how did this look. That whole movie though, you sit there and you hear about it, like they had to CGI fucking Wesley Snipes' eyes because he refused to open his eyes while he was shooting it and shit like that. That was like right before Wesley Snipes and his like tax shit that happened, right? Like yeah, that was I mean, that was like back when what's gonna happen now is Vin Diesel's gonna get caught like not paying taxes because he's pissing everyone off so bad, and you're like, you idiot, you're not.
What
you're
is
not
he?
fucking-
Yeah, I really don't understand. When you get to a certain point, all of a sudden, like you just think you can do whatever you want. Like I don't
He's
get that.
He's not smart, I don't think. Dude, everything I've seen with that dude, he just seems like not the brightest crayon in the
And he
box.
just says, "It's for family.
Yeah,
it's for family.
And then he makes that-
Family."
I will never. So one of my favorite things ever is from that with Vin Diesel was Raising Hope. There's an episode where they the one character she can't, like, if she has gossip she has to tell him, and she's like getting blackmailed, so she tells this certain gossip, she whatever, and so to like stop from spreading the gossip she knows, she tells her own gossip, which is that she lost her sex tape with her husband, and the sex tape was on a marked like Fast and Furious, and the one character Bert, who the only thing you might know him from was he was the guy that got exploded in Looper, but he goes
Love
he
that
he
movie.
wanted to see Vin Diesel, and he saw my wiener. My wiener kind of looks like Vin Diesel. It just- I mean, all wieners kind of look like Vin Diesel, if we're being honest, right? I
No,
mean,
Vin Diesel looks like a wiener.
yeah, I mean, he kind of is a wiener if you ask Justin Lin and everything like that, man. And The Rock,
Did
again.
you see that clip that I was telling you about on his Instagram where he's like, "It's going to be a great movie, right?" And he's just like,
No, I didn't watch that yet.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
no. Dude, I
holding
mean, when
gunpoint.
you start not showing up, you show up fat, and just like Vin Diesel is not tall enough to be like a little bit overweight. Like he is not a giant dude, and you go and you piss Justin. How do you piss? You've pissed off Justin Lin and The Rock. Well, it's time to look in the mirror, penis Diesel. It's time to look in the mirror. Look in the mirror and go, I have some life choices to analyze. And then you maybe, I don't know, man, after that point, but
Analyze.
analyze. Analyze. Where was analyze? Was that Letterkenny where they were like yeah, where they're talking about stripper names that were like rip-offs of celebrities and stuff, like it was like analyze Jolie or something like that I don't know. All
Oh, they're
anal
so
something.
good at that. Yeah.
Yeah. That show is, dude. I was saying before, but I don't know how fucking Wayne does those. Like all the things he does on that show without like losing it is fucking perfect, man. That guy is just so talented at just like straight like. You know what I actually said? I feel like Letterkenny is like the Canadian equivalent of Seinfeld, but just like modernized. Like nothing really ever happens in the show, but it's just
It's so easy to film too. It's like one set, two
yeah.
cameras, one's just on a fucking slider that's going back and forth the entire time. So it's not
Yeah.
even manned by anyone. And
Yeah.
the other is just like record,
Dude,
and it's just like straight up.
dude, they have some good shots on that show though for
Yeah.
like what it is. Like I'm like the director of photography knows what he's doing with that show. So yeah, Letterkenny's awesome. If you haven't seen it, it's wonderful. Um, I have to ask you, since you're Canadian, is that a Canadian like like TV network or cable network? What the fuck? Where does Letterkenny come from?
Isn't it on Hulu?
It's on Hulu now, but like, where did it original crack? I don't fucking know. Like, it's some Canadian source, right?
Oh,
I don't know.
Crackle.
Is it Crackle? Is it where it's from?
Yeah,
I don't know.
but that's also the only way to get that is essentially it comes with Hulu in Canada. So yeah, it was like a Crackle original, I think,
Okay.
which is essentially Hulu Canada.
Okay. That's what I didn't understand, but okay, thank you for explaining Canadian ways to me. Josh, not that I've been blabbering about what I've been watching. What have you been watching besides Fresh
Um,
and
I've been
Morbius? You
out.
watched
Yeah, I watched Morbius because someone fucking told me to. I didn't watch my show last night because I was watching this. So after oh man, I'm gonna watch the game, then I'm gonna watch the mid-season
Better
finale
Call
of Better
Saul.
Call Saul
Yeah.
tonight because I'm super excited. Um, I watched a new Liam Neeson movie called Memory, and holy fuck, I can't believe I made it all the way through that. It was so bad. Like
Every single trailer of his movies now looks like
the exact
painful to watch.
it's like Taken, but not as good. Like he's losing his memory. He's got a gun, and it only the only time he ever like actually acts like he has dementia towards the end of the movie is because it now serves his character to be more
Yeah.
debilitated and more like memory loss. Whereas before he's just the dude from Taken up until that doesn't serve his character anymore. And all the other acting in the movie is fucking terrible. Except for
Terrible.
his. Like, he knows
Yeah.
how to act, but everyone else, I was like, this is the scene. It was awkward for me to watch because of how bad the acting actually was. But that being said, there was still good parts to the movie, and the story overall was there, right? Like, there was stuff, there was redeeming qualities to the movie. So
Dude,
I'm like, eh.
he'll always be Rob Roy to me, which is a weird movie that I think most people haven't seen. But my dad likes sword fighting and Scottish shit, and so like I saw it at a pretty early age, and like some like head of state or something, like some important nobleman like rapes his wife or something like that, and then it's like his revenge seek the rest of the time. And but like you have to revenge like in like the proper like, you know, 1632 ways or whatever it is. And then yeah, I don't know when it was, I just made up 1632, so you don't have to listen to this and then like explain to me that what it wasn't 1632. I was just putting a year out there because it sounded funny.
It wasn't 1632.
It was
I went
1633.
no, I had a good weekend with my buddies. My
Nice.
one buddy took me out golfing, and then my other buddy took me out for dim sum, which I've never had. I was like, "Oh man, you guys are the best. Taking care of me."
And then they give you blowjobs. I mean,
No. But then I also got new internet because I guess my old ISP, I was out of the contract, so they decided to double my bill, like literally completely over double my bill. I got my bill and I was like, did I forget to pay last month? And I went and looked. I was like, no, what the hell? And I called them up. I was like, yo, what is this? Oh yeah, we can put you back on another contract to get your price down. I was like, this price is ridiculous for anything, like let alone what you're offering me. So I started looking elsewhere, and I could get 10 times the speed from their competitor for still less than I was paying on the bill that I just called to complain about. I'm like, okay, your competitor is offering 10 times the speed. What can you do? Because you lost me with this bill, buddy. And they're like,
oh, man.
we can give you really cheap. I'm like,
yeah.
honestly, I've been, the amount of stuff I do with my internet, and I'm a heavy user. I need the speed. I'm sorry, you lost me. So
And then
new internet, and I went biking
good.
and had really good food. Over 130 kilometers on the bike this in 2 days.
God damn you in your kilometers. That's like 75
Kilometers.
Kilometers.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Meters?
It was a
You
lot.
killed some meters.
And I busted a cable halfway through the last ride, and I was so far from my house, and it was the cable on the right side, so it was the one that has the 10 gears. So I was stuck in the hardest gear for a long fucking time and a lot of hills. It hurt, but I learned how to rewire the freaking yeah.
I was gonna say your ass is gonna be like, you're gonna have the tightest little ass in the world after that, Josh. It's gonna be like you could bounce a quarter off of it, like that.
Oh, you already can.
Baseball guy who took a baseball off the butt that like was like. Ba-bong,
oh, and I started because I took Friday off to get that tattoo that you saw. A nice, awesome trade. I love it. Like when you get asked, "Hey, do you trade? Because I want your services," and I'm like, yeah, let's do it." So I love that.
I don't offer anything of tradable quality, which is why I haven't got a tattoo.
I love, I do have something, especially like my ability to help startups. Like I do the logo, business card, website, letterhead, like anything you need. That's what I specialize in. So my ability to trade for anything or any other thing that everyone's like, oh fuck, like, so yeah, I'm totally down for it, man. Especially if you're like a cool person or like one of my friends too. Like it's like, hey, we're friends. Do you want to like not? Because it's just kind of yeah, I'd rather help you out and you help me out. I think.
I've never had a tradable quality of anything. I don't think. Like I've never been like, man, I can lube up your axle rods and your I don't even know where I
You
was
just
going with
used
that.
your own name.
Yeah, I did, and here I am. And here I am, motherfucker. Man. Okay, you want to get into this movie because it's a little wild, man. It's a little like this film was. It's a
It
little
was
weird
fresh.
seeing a Marvel actor doing like weird, goofy stuff like this. But I fucking approve because man, it's good to see different stuff coming out of a guy like this, right? It's like
I think he had to just to like shit so it's not a typecast type thing. And Andrea Bang is in this. She's also from Kim's Convenience, which is
is she?
like, hey, this is the first thing I've seen her outside of Kim's Convenience,
Yeah.
and I think it was actually the
Dude,
first project she did. So
we'll do our normal. We're not gonna spoil, and then we'll get to it. Like we'll spoil, but with a warning. And I have to say, man, Sebastian Stan, this entire movie, even though his character is a little like, um, is a little skeezy, is charming
yeah, he's
the
so
entire
charismatic,
time. Yeah,
so
and it's like,
charismatic. He owns the
yeah,
lens.
yeah,
He knows that he is insanely good looking, and he
yeah,
knows how to just like be mesmerizing. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. It is. It's one of those things where like you have a questionable character that you're just kind of like, I mean, but I still kind of like him for
Yeah,
most
he's
of the
not
movie.
fucking Chad.
Yeah. Well, dude, the film and it's like I there's things in this movie that I go, I'm not quite sure why he did certain things in it. Like I feel like the writing could like the script could have been cleaned up a little bit, but especially a lot of things with at the end. Um,
Yeah, but
but
it was satisfying though.
you know, says like I'm not. There aren't major complaints. I'm not going. Don't go watch this. I really enjoyed it. Watch this movie, especially if you have Hulu. Um, but there are things at the end I'll get to that specifically with the bartender character that like at the very end of the film, I'm just like, why did why did this whole like fucking like series of
Mhm.
events happen besides like some weird like I'm out of here kind of joke? And I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, like I like that was it reminded me. It was like what would have happened if Get Out
Get Out.
had like
It
had
is yeah.
gone differently, you know?
That's the that's
Yeah.
where my head went to.
Yeah.
This is the character from Get Out, but he's more realistic.
Yeah, he said fuck this and left.
He literally said fuck this.
Yeah. Dude, I have to say though, like this is a you have a Sebastian Stan in it, but this is a real indie film, it feels like, right? Like it's really
Totally.
kind of small in scale. It's got a kind of a it's kind of got like a things like Silence of the Lambs. It's got that kind of like mystery thriller kind of thing while being a horror like more horror-y version of that in this film. Um
It scared the shit out of me because I'm more recently single,
yeah.
and that's why I did the poster the way I did.
Yeah.
Seeing any of these types of apps, I'm so like it's so stupid.
Yeah.
For some reason, I'm in Calgary. You know,
Yeah.
you swipe, you swipe, you swipe. How I just got to say this. How many women in Alberta have or ride fucking horses? I'm not into it. And there's so many profiles out there that have fucking horses in it. And I'm just like, what is going on here? Like, seriously, what is going on here? How
Okay.
many
I
horses are there?
they want to ride things with big wieners, Josh, so you should
Oh.
be in. So
Oh.
I have to say, but I want to talk about this because it's not a spoiler. It little tiny bit, but not really. This movie opens up on a date that was the most awkward thing I've watched in a movie since about The Stylist.
Yeah.
the opening, I was covering my eyes
What?
and like
So
pinning my ears
do
shut.
you know that guy, Chad? Have you seen him in anything before? Because I watched Schooled, the TV series
No,
that got
I've
canceled
never
right
heard of it.
before this, and he was the awkward teacher that was trying to get with the lead character. Because my ex and I were really into the Goldbergs,
Yeah,
and Schooled is the first successful spin-off that went more than one season
yeah,
from the show Goldbergs, where
yeah.
the son's girlfriend got her own spin-off show being a teacher at the same school in the 90s. And
I was
so
gonna
the
say the
gym
show
teachers, what?
was in the 80s, right? The Goldbergs was in the
Yeah, so
80s.
Schooled was set in the 90s, and Chad was the cool teacher that wasn't cool because he was fucking Chad and he was like
Yeah,
lame and awkward and shit. So to see him as like Chad with the stupid fucking scarf, I
and just
I could tell right there how it was filmed and how awkward it was. Like I didn't know until after
yeah,
like checking that it was directed by Mimi, a woman obviously,
Mimi
and I was
Cave.
like, yeah, and I was like, I could kind of
She's
feel that this, yeah, like a girl,
this
this is a
yeah, it's
girl's
this
side, and it really felt like the understanding was
yeah.
really there of how cringy from a woman's perspective that it feels to be in this
d-
awkward
Yeah.
situation.
Did you freeze, Josh? Okay, you froze a second, but you're good. Okay, dude, the when she gets the dick pic randomly
Uh,
and she's like, "Blah!" And it's
I
like,
don't
oh my god,
understand
I'm like,
people. I don't understand people, man.
yeah, dude. Okay, if you're listening to this, I have to tell you, can you stop listening? And you have a penis. Um, I want to tell you something. No one, and I mean no one, wants to see a picture of your penis.
Yeah.
Penises are cool. I like penises, but you don't. Nobody wants to see a picture of them like on a phone. They doesn't do anything flattering. It doesn't like. It's not exciting for anyone, and it makes you a sexual predator. So stop sending, stop
It's
as
not part of
a
my
man.
thought process, so I don't
Yeah,
understand it. I just,
does it because you're not a fucking creepazoid. Like you don't think that like if you send a picture of your dick, you're gonna get laid. It's like the amount of things that horny men do in this world is that's why like this movie like you're talking about directed by a woman you can tell because these are like the things and fears that a woman must have in this
yeah, but I
modern
have
day.
the same ones, man.
You, I mean, is someone gonna eat your ass, Josh? And I don't mean in the good way. I mean, no, it's
Yeah, maybe no, no, not like that. Like just like the full on like you're putting yourself out there, man. I put
yeah,
myself out there and I got fucked over really hard in the past.
yeah.
And I don't it's going to be hard, man. Like
I-
you don't know who you can trust and you really can't trust anyone, really. So I just don't trust a fucking person, man.
You could trust me, Josh. You could trust me. I love you.
I love you. When are you coming?
I'm. I mean, I'm gonna have to get to Canada before I come, Josh. But
No, you got to come to Canada.
I gotta. What? Can you spell the word "come" to Canada for me first?
We're not talking about cumin here.
See? Oh, okay. You don't mean. Oh, you don't mean see you. Okay, okay. I get it. I get it. I get it. Oh man. But man, I have to say like that. I kind of figured like I kind of started guessing 15, 20 minutes into this film what fresh meant. Um, but didn't really know for sure. Um,
That's why I also like on the poster chose the
yeah,
anything from the first quarter of the movie. So
yeah,
the produce section I thought was a cheeky kind of thing where they met because it's in the fresh produce aisle and
yeah.
it's not about produce. Haha. Um
And also, I have to say, this movie is also is it fresh on Rotten Tomatoes? Because that's
yeah,
something that I really want to know now. It is because
yeah.
that is important. Um, also, on a side note, and I just as I
Because that is important.
I'm just curious because the thought process came to me. Two more things before
because
we
that
get back
is important. It's
to
81 across the board, man. Audience and tomato meter.
Okay, two more things. One, Chippendale Rescue Rangers was fucking dope. If you haven't
Ah,
watched
I
it,
want to
it's
watch it.
fucking
I was going to this
wonderful,
weekend, but I
and I really enjoyed it. It's
I've
goofy,
heard
but
it's
it's got
just the
nostalgia.
cameos.
But
Well, yeah, of
yeah,
course. I was a huge fan of Chippendale Rescue Rangers, and uh, yeah, like a huge fan. That was my
okay, that was
jam.
number one. Go watch that movie. It's a ton of fun. Two, Bob's Burgers comes out on Friday, and I'm very excited.
Oh,
I'm very
the
excited for
does it come to theaters?
yeah, it comes to theaters on Friday. So Bob's Burgers
What? I
the
haven't heard
movie.
that.
Yeah, Bob's Burgers the movie comes out on Friday,
In
aka the day after
Canada?
it's
I'm in
released.
Canada. Does it come out
I
in
why would
Canada?
why was Bob's Burger not come out on Friday in Canada?
I haven't heard a fucking thing about it, man.
I don't know, man. It comes out on Friday, and you should see
I
Bob's
don't
Burgers
believe
the
you.
movie. I don't believe you, Josh. I don't believe you. Okay, back to
Rod,
the,
I
the
can't believe you.
I can't believe you, Josh. That
Top
was
Gun
I
comes out on Friday. Nothing else matters.
dude. I have to say that I was talking to Freddie about that on Twitter, and he had never seen Top Gun, and so he was watching it because I guess it's on Netflix in the United States at least. I hope I hope and pray that Top Gun 2 is as homoerotic as the first one, if not more homoerotic, because that is like Top Gun is like the most homoerotic movie of all time, and outside of like Nightmare on Elm Street 2, which I love. I love Nightmare on Elm Street 2, and it is a wonderful film, and I love that movie before I saw Scream Queen, and then I saw Scream Queen, and I'm like, Nightmare on Elm Street 2 might be the best Nightmare on Elm Street just because as I spit, I'm saying that because I can't
I've
talk
never
without
watched
like
a single episode of Bob's Burgers though. So
you've never
yeah, I knew that was gonna blow your mind.
dude, Bob's Burgers is amazing. And you
I
should
could,
watch Bob's.
but I haven't.
You should because it's wonderful. It's like it's very, very nice. And then you play my favorite game when you watch Bob's Burgers. You play which member of the Belchers is the most insane family member of the show, and it's a very good time for that. So watch Bob's Burgers. This is number two. Um, I have to say like the uh the Daisy Edgar Jones is Noah. Also, Noah's a cool name. I like Noah. That you said
She
this
was
from kid. Yeah,
awesome in this.
yeah.
I
She
was
did a,
trying to see if I knew her from something, and there isn't anything I've seen her in. So
didn't you see she was from Kim's Convenience, or is it the black girl was from Kim's Convenience?
no, the one they save at the end, Penny, who she's
Oh,
talking
okay,
through the wall to.
okay, yeah, dude. I there were so many like what this movie does really well is set up these really fucking like tense scenes that you go, oh shit, oh shit, and it happens multiple times, and I there's so many. It really isn't that big of a scale of a movie. Like we have our opening act, which is like very like a
But this
rom
is where
com.
you can take like, you know, it could be budget constraints or whatever
Yeah,
with but you're making an indie, and this is how you do it well. Like
yeah,
it didn't look that cheap. That house was fucking beautiful. It looked big
yeah.
on the inside and stuff, but like it's I don't know. This is a really interesting concept. It's almost like Twilight Zones or
Dude, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of like if you took the people from Hostel and moved them to America, kind of thing.
Hostel. Yeah,
Is kind of like that. Um, and no, it's
totally.
not Hostile, but like you if you watch this film, if you haven't seen it yet, you'll understand what I mean. The goons
The
look
logo being like the way it was, and like the
yeah.
people coming in and helping out and stuff. Yeah,
Dude,
like it
the
was
logo
totally like an
reminded me of like all the conspiracy, like the Illuminati kind of shit, right? That's kind
yeah.
of what it reminded me of a lot. And I was like, because it was like a devil, right? It was like a devil and a pentagram was like
And it's
the
the
logo.
1% of the 1%. So it's the
Yeah,
people that can afford literally anything, so
yeah. Is
they
that what he
want to
says in the
afford.
film? Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Um, dude, I have to say, like, I really thought like everyone did I don't think anyone did a bad job like acting in this film either. Like all the characters did
No.
really like well. I like her friend who was Molly, whose name is JoJo in real life, which is fucking dope. That's a sweet name, man, JoJo. Um, and then like
They all seem like realer characters for like being put into this like situation. The way
yeah,
they chose to react to things was on the realistic side, and I
yeah,
liked that, especially her friend
yeah,
like caring that much and knowing
yeah,
like I, I say any of this to the police,
yeah,
no one's gonna fucking help me. Like I got to do this myself.
yeah. Well, yeah, it's dude, it's that fucking like. I mean, even the bartender dude makes that joke about she's white, right? Like, because the two black characters, and you're just
Yeah.
like, oh, and I that makes me wonder. I wonder if this the director is. I wonder if the director's a white person or a black person. I'm just curious. It would be interesting because of the perspective of some of the characters in this film, but I didn't know pictures. Um, but yeah, it does a real good job of like how how isolated you can feel in the modern world. I mean, like what you're saying, Josh, like as you're like kind of in the dating pool a little bit, but like how isolating and how like just like like she kind of makes it sound like she feels dehumanized doing it, right? And like
Mm-hmm.
the way she's getting like dick pictures and shit like that. And I said it, Chad in that fucking opening date is literally 5 of the most awkward moments of cinema I've seen since the stylist. And the stylist is that a builds up that awkwardness over an entire film. This is just like pure opening date is one of the worst opening dates I've ever seen. The fucking like that when he said like women used to dress better or something like that, I'm like,
Oh my
I,
god.
I, I was like, stop talking. And then like he's like having her pay for half of the food and
No,
he's
pay
taking
for
her
all of
leftovers.
it,
Did she pay for all of it? I couldn't. I
or
thought she
I
was
don't,
splitting.
or maybe split. Yeah, but it was cash only.
Yeah. And I'm like, what? And then like he's like fucking being racist to the fucking Chinese food people because they work at a Chinese food restaurant. I don't know if she understood me. I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude. And his character arc though with that, and then the very like it opens and closes with Chad, and
It's
you're like,
so good.
God damn it, Chad, are you awake? I'm like, you
Yeah, but that's
fucking
where like when you see it, and again, why I had to use the phone
yeah,
on. I wanted to put Chad's profile up there, but I didn't. Um,
yeah,
um, I, I don't know, like just the way it chooses to end the movie too. It made me fucking love this movie.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I was like, this is nutty, but the fact, like just the direction
yeah,
of these these decisions as like a film, as a piece of art, choosing to make sure that the first quarter of the movie felt and looked and was a certain way,
yeah,
and then the credits roll and it
yeah,
turns into a completely different movie that is
yeah,
R-rated, that is different, but because you have that whole like setup so you understand the characters and Sebastian Stan's character and how he actually is as like a charismatic person, whatever, and he is still that as a bad person too. It makes you almost still like his character
yeah,
even when he's being the worst person. You're like, how is this working so
yeah.
well?
It's
And
because he
like,
just has all the charisma. Yeah,
but I feel like just the decisions that were made for this movie were all
yeah,
so well done, and it was a treat. Like
yeah,
it wasn't like a hard watch because even when they are doing like the more horrific things, they're not showing too much. They
yeah,
Hitchcock it a bit, and
yeah.
it's more about like, whoa, this is just really fucked up. And
Yeah, the
yeah,
violence is, like, very implied in this film, even when the violence is happening right in front of you. It's funny because as my wife was watching it, she was like she kinda compared the ending to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because it just, like it goes from, like a 6 or a 7, like, until, like, a 10 or 11 crazy,
yeah.
like, right there at
But
the end of the film.
no, I would like to say the horror, yes, was implied, but the horror was also more psychological
Yeah.
and more like a mind fuck the
Yeah.
entire time and turned into violent horror at the end. So they do three different things in this
Yeah.
movie perfect. Like
Dude.
a romantic comedy or drama rather, and then to like the psychological horror
Yeah.
straight into, or not straight
Like,
into, then it ends
yeah,
off
it
with
kind
the
of
yeah.
things like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, even like fuck, man, even Death Proof, right? Like you get that kind of like,
But
okay, we
there's
building up this up
the
for the whole
build up.
film. And,
But
yeah,
that's what I liked about this movie. You
yeah,
meet that wife character, and then you find out something about her character when she goes to have a
yeah,
shower and stuff. You're like, oh, crazy. And then you're like, wait a second. Then you start to, but it doesn't
yeah,
hand feed you the information.
yeah. Well,
You're
that,
coming up with these conclusions on your own.
yeah,
Maybe this is what happened. And then it kind of reveals it slowly throughout the movie that other
yeah.
things were happening. You're like, oh, that's really cool.
And yeah, and they never answer all the questions either. They
No.
go at the end, you're like, "Oh, does that mean this or does that mean this?" Like, there's a one
Yeah.
main thing, and you're just like they kinda, like, leave it open-ended, right? They don't explain either way, and you're just like,
It doesn't
"Yeah,
matter though. And that's the
yeah, it
type
doesn't
of
matter."
stuff
I know,
that,
yeah.
what? Yeah, I don't know. But
Yeah,
the match cut too of his legs running right after
yeah.
is so, because then it goes up to his face and he's just like this
Dude,
shit-eating grin, like
that he got fucked up at the end of that movie,
oh
but
yeah, it's
okay,
so good.
let's go into spoilers a little bit because I feel
We
like we're
kind of
already hitting a
spoiled
lot
a
of stuff.
little bit throughout, but
Yeah, but if I mean, I feel like anyone listening to this, I know we do this so that people can stop and like go watch it if they
spoilers,
haven't.
spoilers, spoilers.
But but we do it just because I think it feels like people can listen, and if they haven't watched the film, because like I know that when podcasts talk about a film I haven't seen, I'm not always like, it depends on the movie, right? Like if I was stoked about the movie, I might not listen to it until I see it. So, um, Hulu, this movie's on Hulu. Go watch it if you have Hulu, or go rent it or whatever. Otherwise, I don't know if you
The
could rent it there. Like I,
cinematography is fucking amazing in this
yeah,
too, by the way.
it's a
Like
lot of man. The house that most of this movie takes in is fucking gorgeous, like you were talking about. It's like this gorgeous house. Um, it's a lot, man. And I was saying to my wife too, they even kind of dork Sebastian Stan up a little. They
yeah.
dork him up a little bit, but he's still got all the fucking charisma. And you go, I made jokes with Jerry afterwards. I was like, at least we know how the Winter Soldier lost his arm now. And it's just like,
I think
but
this is the movie that he filmed maybe right before the Pam and Tommy. Like I don't know if he was wearing a wig for the Pam and Tommy.
yeah,
Did you watch that? It was so good,
no, I
man.
haven't
He
watched it
killed it
yet.
in
I
that
need
too.
to. With his talking penis, I heard about his talking penis.
Yeah, it was so well done, man. Like it
Yep,
was a really entertaining show.
I'm gonna have
I
to
think
check it
that's on
out.
Hulu as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yep. Yep. Okay, we're gonna spoil now. I have to say, I cringed so hard, and I love how they paid it off when she bites his dick off, and it is like, and then you don't really know
But
because they again, it's
again,
that
the way it's filmed and the way
yeah
they show I weirdly enough, because my buddy JD is a photographer, I was having this conversation with him while we were biking about when I first started filmmaking, my misuse of shallow depth of field, because I felt like the faster a lens you put on like a camera, the more cinematic it looks, and I was
yeah
misusing it. Then I
yeah
go and see this movie, which has a lot of shallow depth of field, but used completely correctly to
yeah
showcase how a character is feeling in a particular moment, changing the sound effects with it and the music up with it, and the way they shot that scene that you're talking about right now, where it's just like right up in the mix, and it shows like then she's got a mouthful of blood, and it was shot and edited so well to actually show the amount of horror and pain that was actually going on in a particular scene. I was I was really impressed by this movie.
yeah, dude. I was like, man, yeah, that sounds dope. So the how they shot everything. Like it was like this sounds dope. I mean, this looks dope. The whole film looks incredibly awesome. Um, and dude, like as I said, it's an extremely like it's a low budget movie because of like you would tell there's not anything like crazy in it, but they used like you're talking about they used cameras perfectly. They used a real nice camera, it seems like, because everything looks great. And they like just everything was like dude, her biting the dick off, don't show anything, dude. They don't show dick.
Yeah.
They don't show what she spits out. They just show the blood on her face, a little bit of blood on her face. And
I
that's
don't
kind
think
of
it was a full bite off. I feel like
they,
it might have
they
been
called,
dangling. But again, the
they
Hitchcock.
called him half dick. They called him half dick after that, which is the best part about that. They called him half dick. And so
That's another thing I really appreciated about this movie because it's quick wit right after shit happened, especially in the last quarter of the movie where she's with her best friend again and they go straight back to wit. I was like, this is amazing.
Dude, and we say it all the time on here. You not showing something like this guy's bit off dick is 1,000 more times horrifying to you and I because we're imagining the most fucked up shit possible in our brains, right? And you're sitting there going,
Yeah, not everyone has fucking Greg Nicotero on their fucking makeup budget to make crazy prosthetics and stuff, right?
well,
Like,
dude,
so yeah.
you don't need it like this. It's like, dude, even like you during that whole like last like act, right? Or that last sequence where they get out, it is like there's a lot of violence happening, but they don't show any. And that's what I was kind of
They
implying
do
earlier.
show, but they do show some. Like
The keys,
shovel
like,
to the head and the key to the neck and
Yeah.
like that. Actually, all the horror that happened to that wife character, it got shown. Like the shovel scene, I was like, holy shit.
She's the worst character in this whole film, and that's we were talking about that earlier. But like because she one turns on Mimi. Or Mimi, or what was her fucking name? I was looking at something and then
Molly?
Molly, yeah. She turns on Molly and just fucking dude, that scene was so fucking great where she's like walking. The thing that I would have done if I was her would have fucking got out of the house and then fucking called the phone, but she calls her phone, Noah's phone.
When she's still blocked. Yeah.
Yeah, she's in between the two of them. Like, oh, that was the biggest mistake you could make in that situation, right? You're like, why would you call right there? Why? Of any time you could call, like you get out like while like you're in the like or you have that doorway to run. You fucking trap yourself. It's like this either goes like you call and nothing happens, or you call and he answers it and you're fucked, right? But yeah, dude, and so like the wife does that and hits her over the head, and then they fucking make you think that you're eating her because like I'm not sure if that wasn't
like
her
2
titty.
separate times I thought like he's force feeding.
Was that her titty though? Because they don't ever say like, and the whole like the titty was never like.
How you keep saying titty?
Because they eat a titty. Okay, guys, they eat a titty. And that is all. Like, I wonder because like that she didn't have any other visible wounds, like, or wasn't missing anything. And man, what other thing I have to ask? Did you kind of wonder if his wife wrote in that magazine? Like, I kind of did. Like, were they implying that the wife?
That's what I thought.
In the magazine, like
that's no, but because you see the scene in the shower where she's missing her leg, and then I think it was before that was the magazine, right?
I don't know.
The magazine was before that because she started, playing up her smiles and blah blah blah, and started like devising a plan. But then after, that's when you see the wife without a leg, and that's where I was like, she's definitely one of his last crushes or something.
But the thing that goes with
He
that
never
in
had
the
friends, he said.
yeah,
It
yeah,
started really early, so for him to even have a wife, she had to have been on the inside,
yeah.
and
Well, then at the end, she starts going, you when she's like commanding the fucking dude from the you go.
yeah.
So they kind of make you go. She took over, and you go. She kind of seems like she's the fucked up part in this situation. Like she's even worse than him now.
I don't
And
know
you
about
go,
oh, yeah.
I mean, because
She was
she was like,
callous.
dude, she's like, oh, I'm gonna make sure to go bag up his body, kind of thing. Like the only other thing that like one of the only things at the end of that movie I didn't like, there is no way in God's name Noah goes back for her phone. Why was she so
I
fucking
know!
concerned about her phone? Like that made I mean it's to do that
They
fight with
think
the
it's
white
just
lady.
him. They don't, so but
Yeah,
still, like, get the fuck
yeah,
out of
but
Dodge.
yeah, fuck that. Why would you? Your phone ain't worth shit, bitch. And then you forgot
Yeah.
it anyways because you don't see Chad text messaging you at the fucking end. Like that dude.
That whole that's kind of like, yeah, the the cons outweigh the pros for going
Yeah,
back, and the reasoning behind it, especially after everything that just happened, it
yeah,
doesn't
fuck
make
that.
sense for
Yeah,
any of that, but they needed her to go back in order to be confronted and have that whole scene with
yeah,
the wife character anyways. It was shoestring on the writing part. That
yeah,
was the only part of the movie
yeah,
that I felt the exact same way. I was like, there's no
yeah,
fucking, but
yeah,
it's almost like a horror trope at that point. What are
yeah.
you doing? You know?
Yeah. It's very like that's the only like real complaint, and the writing is that you're like is a little like stretched, right? You're like, I don't know about
But the
that,
rest,
but
the fact
yeah,
that there is
it's
like a hostile style, like underground, like cult
yeah.
thing is really cool.
But
Um,
dude, they
the
talk about
amount,
they talk about the fucking. He goes, yeah, this plate is $30,000 that they're
yeah,
eating, and he goes, and it would be more if she was still alive. It's like you see how this motherfucker has like two giant houses in Portland, like
yep.
the what? It's funny. His family house is like less fancy than his fucking like his
Kill
like
House.
yeah
But it
man
almost seems like the Kill House, well, it's definitely his own company that he's doing. But like the fact that the Illuminati people come and pick it up specifically, it's
yeah
almost like it might be funded by the whole
yeah
corporation as well. Because
maybe
without it, how are they going to get this stuff? And I love that they make like, you know, the parts where he's creating the curated boxes and stuff, and the
yeah
close-ups of cutting the meat and all that stuff. It's all done so stylishly and like a cooking show, and like with so much
yeah.
like care and attention to detail and stuff.
Well, dude, the scene where he's like fucking taking the Melissa girl's leg, who you never see because
Yeah,
she's the one they like eat, and they're eating her liver later on. Like he's like having it's like American Psycho. He's just like
yeah,
having the best old time. He's like, yeah, and he's like
yeah.
dancing and dude,
All the
it's
music
fucking
and singing along and stuff,
yeah,
like it totally adds to how just nutso this character is.
dude, that fucking dress he gives her is hideous. That pink fucking weird. It looks like a 50s dress. And I'm like, what
But
are you
that
fuck?
whole scene where they're dancing and how
Yeah,
awkward it is and stuff
yeah.
is so perfect for
Oh
like
yeah,
the tone of this movie and everything.
yeah.
It's
Well,
like a
because it's
Pulp Fiction style dance
yeah,
number,
yeah.
and she's like it just but he
Well,
is like he's in heaven.
yeah. He's well,
She's giving him exactly what he wants.
he's completely out of touch, right? Like he is completely out of touch because like I mean, obviously you're eating people at like 18, I think, or was it 19? You
Yeah,
said
18
whatever.
or 19, yeah.
And you go, and you think that this like that's how like not self-aware this character is, right? Like he's not aware that like you're doing all this awful shit to this woman and you think she's still going to be dig you. And I mean, to his credit though, I mean, obviously he's gotten this wife that it kind of seems like he fucking, did all this shit to, right? Um that fucking painting, was also creepy because my wife and I were watching it and she goes, "Is that hair? It looks like there was like a strand of hair on the fucking painting." And it's just like, "What the fuck is this?" Um and dude, like me and Jerry, yeah, like, Jerry and I were saying the same thing you were talking about. That opening is it was like 33 or 35 minutes.
But it's
Long
so
as
well
fuck.
done. It's like an
It's,
actually really well done,
yeah.
like, you know,
It's like a TV show. Like it's like
yeah.
like a 35, 40-minute TV show like that you're just like, "Damn, they fucking killed it." Like it's so like, man, the fucking whole thing is you're sitting there going, the it's
It deserves
I
the
don't know.
81% across the board. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah,
that's a
I think
perfect rating for this
yeah.
movie. I don't feel like
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
needs more. It definitely doesn't deserve any less than that.
No.
And I probably would even give it closer to like a 90% score because I like the stupid
It
Chad bookend.
yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
that put it over the top for me because it ended like that and bookended with fucking Chad on the phone. You up? I'm just like that
Yeah.
is it's too perfect. It's too
Yeah.
fucking perfect. I love
Yeah.
it. Thank you for ending it that
Yeah.
way.
It's one of those things where it was like this movie is a blast. It's really fun, but it's not like you're never gonna walk out of this film or watch this movie and go, "This was the best movie I've ever seen." Right?
No,
Like
but
it's that
there was
really
so
really
many things
fun
done
time.
right.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why you're saying like that 86 is just like that perfect score, right? You're sitting there going, this is a B
I like
plus."
86. It was
Well,
81.
oh,
I like
81. It's like
86.
yeah, it's like you get a B plus for this film, and you're like, man, they really, really, really killed it because like we're talking about two, like how much has this director done? Also,
Just
like
short films before this, so that's really cool. I
yeah,
always love seeing that.
dude, I love it. Music videos and short films. They're like
Yeah.
they just gave her a budget, like, and man, she fucking killed it. She killed it. And like there's stuff in this, I mean, because you directed films and do all your stuff. You go, she learned shit doing this that she goes, oh, I'm gonna. But dude, this is something that we talk about all the time in here. But like translating like modern fears or societal fears into movies is what horror can do so well. And this movie, it just shows
Yes.
you what like
100%.
fucking dating in modern times is like how we're becoming like while we're more connected, we're also less connected, right? She has like no family, she has like one friend, like she doesn't have anything, and it's like this dude sits there and builds the situation and uses that to like fucking to do this fucking empire. Like this motherfucker has killed how many kidnapped and killed and tortured and done all this stuff. He doesn't torture really, to be honest. But like he's done this with all these girls and nobody notices him because he picks them off. Like he is the perfect predator, basically, right? Like the only way her friend finds her and they really get out of this shit, like I mean, she would have gotten away by herself, maybe, but like the only way her friend finds her is because they went to this bar that she had been dating the bartender, right?
Yeah.
And the bartender is fucking hysterical because he wants to fuck this girl so bad, her friend, that he's like following her, and then he finds the house and he's like, fuck this, and leaves. That's why we were comparing it to Get Out earlier, where the black guy shows up and he's like, nah, fuck like instead of like actually, picking him up, this guy leaves. And I kept thinking he was gonna show back up, and they just like, nope, he's fucking gone. He's gone and he's not coming back. I would like to know
Because
what
he got out of his car and he heard
yeah.
a crazy guy yelling the girls' names and then gunshots. He's like, fuck this shit.
Yeah. It's so funny because it's that like the stupid stereotype, the black character gets killed first in a horror movie, right? And actually, man, it's funny. Like there's only 2 deaths in this movie, right? It's I guess 3 if you count the girl that you don't, Melissa, who you never
There's a
see.
lot more, insinuation than
Yeah.
anything else. So
It's really like, I mean, kind of like Silence of the Lambs. They're bringing Silence of the Lambs up again, but like you only see like the one girl that gets drug up in the river, and they talk about more. But Buffalo Bill's like pretty prolific by this point. But yeah, dude, this is it does a it's another like you're talking about it, but like it like melds these like genres really well, right? It like does all three of those like it's like a romantic comedy, like a thriller and a horror movie, like because like the middle act is really kind of like a thriller, like you're going in like suspense thriller, like where you're like, what's happening and what is like coming on, and you have the friend investigating and all that shit, right? And
Yeah.
but it was man, I'm people. I said I was gonna watch this, and Freddie's replying, and he goes, "Make sure you get a good hamburger afterwards." I'm like, "God damn it, Freddie!"
I had
So
3 awesome hamburgers the same day I watched this.
nice,
I
nice man.
made 2 of them, but one was even better.
I hope that Hulu is like Hulu's got weird like things with like movies, right? Like they do a bunch of like super low budget movies, but like I bet this probably had like about a $10 million budget, maybe a little bit less than that, like 7 or 8. Like, but it's also shot in Portland, which is like not a cheap place to shoot, right? Um, this movie's a
Is
blast though, and I'm glad I went in not knowing anything. Like, I feel like that's the best way to watch this movie
Well,
because,
yeah,
like,
don't see that fucking poster that they put out. It's an official poster too, and I don't like that it's an official
yeah,
one, man.
dude,
Like,
I don't, I don't, yeah, I don't like. You've gotten me when, like, I'll watch Marvel trailers and shit like that, like, but
yeah.
stuff like that. But man, if I can go into a horror
It's
movie,
so much better, right?
it's so much better. Yeah, and it's just, I
We're gonna watch
not,
it anyways.
yeah,
Why have we gotten so used to
yeah,
spoiling something before we see
yeah,
it? Like
yeah,
to go in and have it be the exact experience that the filmmaker intended. It's like,
yeah,
no, no, no. They're not gonna know this. But if you watch
yeah,
a trailer, especially a lot of the new trailers,
yeah,
they're putting stuff in from the third act into fucking
yeah,
trailers. I
yeah,
say trailers should only ever be first act and maybe like one scene to add to the action in something that
yeah,
happens in the second act. Seeing stuff from trailers, especially Marvel movies, where it's like,
yeah,
this is literally one of the last scenes in the movie, and I
yeah,
saw it in the fucking trailer,
yeah.
pisses me off so much.
Dude, the zombie, like the zombie is strange character that
Yeah.
was, I was like maybe the exception to the rule because they make you think it's him coming after like regular
Yeah.
Doctor Strange, but like that was a cool moment, and like if they hadn't seen any of it, like
It's
Marvel also
hard
does that.
not to. They have
Yeah,
such a huge budget. It's everywhere.
yeah,
It's you can't not
yeah.
see it.
Marvel also does that thing where they fuck with you with trailers.
Yeah.
Like where they do things like that they had that Infinity like gauntlet the Infinity War scene where the Hulk was running at the end. They added the Hulk into it even though he wasn't in there. Like that whole end of that movie they couldn't like he couldn't turn into the Hulk. So stuff like that which I appreciate, right? It's like that or they fuck with you. But yeah, man, it's I I'm really and you working doing this show with you and you do all this stuff kind of got me to that go. I don't want to do anything. If I can avoid trailer, I'm going to. So
It's
okay,
it's fun. It's kind of like a hard game sometimes, but
yeah, it
it's
is.
fun.
Well, dude, it's that way I don't even try with Marvel. Like it's impossible to avoid trailers for Marvel things because they're literally everywhere. And so I just kind of embraced it and kind of t like watch YouTube videos where they like Emergency Awesomes, the big one, and another guy called 3C, where they kind of talk about characters and things that like you see or people suspect, because then it gives you a bigger connection to the comic books, right? That's kind of why like I'll do it with that and just embrace the goofiness of that. But they're spectacles anyways, right? They're spectacles. That's what they're here
What
for.
did so what did you think of Moon Knight?
I liked Moon Knight. I liked Moon Knight a lot. I liked Moon Knight because Moon
Is there
Knight
gonna be
had
more? Or is that like a
no,
one-off?
that's a one-off because it's him introducing him into the Marvel universe. He'll be in Blade, I think is probably where they're doing the Werewolf by Night Halloween special in at Halloween time.
Okay.
So he'll be in that because that's where Moon Knight originally showed up. I Oscar Isaac I don't think could do any wrong. He's
No,
in
he's so good in absolutely everything.
yeah,
So
Ex
I
Machina
was
is
impressed.
one of those movies that is. We could even talk about that film at some point on this podcast because it's a horror movie. And it's Alex Garland, right? Isn't it? But he's great in that, and then he was great in all the Star Wars movies. Him was great. Not all the Star Wars movies were great, but he was great in them. And it's just guy's got so much charisma, and it's got a giant talking hippopotamus god, which always makes me happy. But yeah, I really liked it, and
We're in the
I
dead zone. Like before the mid of summer, there's just no new horror anywhere to be found in this
yeah.
time of the year, which sucks. I just
But
want a new horror movie to come out.
we it's funny because Josh and I, if you go into our interactions with each other, Josh was suggesting a movie, and I was like, "Oh, that looks cool. I'm down." And then Jerry informed us it was a documentary about found footage movies, and I was like, "Well, dude, it worked out well because then we ended up doing this, and I had a blast doing it."
Yeah,
And
seriously.
I got a message during the show, so that other thing we were gonna do, I'm not gonna announce it yet until we book it. I mean, until we do it.
Well, they got back to you?
Yeah, it got back to me. So that will be next week's episode. So I'll talk about it after. But I'll tell you, we're gonna have to record that a little bit early, a couple of days. But I'll tell you after this. So, okay, Josh. Anything else before we get out of here? This movie's a blast. I mean, what else? Anything else you want to say about it?
Oh, Stranger Things. Maybe we do like a special episode about because we're gonna just binge that first
Yeah.
bit. Maybe we just do because honestly, if you look at the numbers of what happened when we stayed current and did the Multiverse of Madness, our numbers
Well,
just
and the sadness.
fucking what?
We
Oh,
got
and
a
the sad.
lot of views on the sadness on the
Well,
YouTube.
yeah, but they also chose to do my poster as well, so there was like a double
yeah. Yeah.
But that I knew that we were very current with that because
Yeah.
you didn't even know it existed, and I was like, no, this is
Yeah.
this is going to be a really good movie for us to do because it's like under the radar, but also looks fucking intense as hell, and it
Yeah.
was. It all worked out, right? So if we can be, I think part of our show and part of our job as people in the horror industry or whatever is to shed a light on stuff that is more current as well. Especially in the indie world. Like Sadness just ticked all the boxes. And so if there's anything like that coming out, Stranger Things is gonna have a lot of search engine hits anyway. So if we can be part of that, I say that's a good thing.
When does that come out?
I think it's this weekend.
Okay. Yeah, let's set that up and we could record that because what I just talked about would be recorded on Sunday afternoon. So we could do if we're all done by
what movie would it
Tuesday
be?
night. The other movie I talked with you about earlier.
Okay.
So something that you don't have to put on and pay super close attention. So
I've literally just watched it not too long ago, but I'll watch it again for sure because
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay. Yeah, I just bought it on iTunes. It was like $9.99. I was like, I will chuck that money into that bucket. So yeah. Okay, we are murdermoose.com. We are Murder Moose Pod on Twitter. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. I just added us to Samsung's and someone else's podcast feeds, so we're adding to more things. Our YouTube is growing a little bit. We still only have 30 subscribers, so if you guys could get us up to 100, that would be great, so we could get Murder Moose on the thing. But come on, guys, it's not a big deal. But come on, guys. JoshWRB.com, JoshWRB on Twitter and Twitch. Go watch Josh make posters and draw them on Sundays. And I'm Rod_Johnston, and I play games. I've been playing Ghostwire Tokyo, which is kind of a creepy action game, but it's also with ghosts, and you're shooting ghosts with weird, magical hands and shit like that. It's interesting. It's by the people that made Evil Within, so it's cool. So, and I mean that's all for now. And I mean, anything else, Josh?
Love your face.
I love your face, buddy. And see you next week, and I will tweet out from the Twitter when we're good to go. So, everybody, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.